Well, good one for our kids. Anytime you go on the road, we went back-to-back weeks against Power 5 teams. It's hard to win on the road anyway, and to come in here against a team that was nationally ranked defensively and take the football away like we did and be opportunistic. Really pleased with the results. We're really starting to establish who we are in that we got much more balance today. Brandon threw the ball well, 14 for 20, so we can probably move on about he can't throw it. He's just, he's got the ability to do a lot at that position. He's just growing. He hasn't arrived, but he did some really good things at the position tonight that helped us become efficient on offense. But again, I think the story here is defensively we were taking the football away. We hadn't been able to take the football away over the last few years. We're taking it away, and then we're opportunistic. So rushing yardage don't really matter much. Passing yards don't matter much when you can take the football away and then capitalize in the red zone on them. Those are the real numbers when you get down to it, because they equal points and point differentials, and they equal winning football games. So that's, in a nutshell, my statement. So I'll open it up to questions.
Brian, what have you seen from Brandon Wimbush in practice, and particularly this week, that gave you the confidence that
Excuse me.
That's last week was more aberration and this week was more who he is?
I just knew, being with him over the last 2 years, that he would be in the kind of rhythm necessary. Made a couple of tweaks to his motion. He was getting underneath the ball a little bit, seated it a little bit better. But more importantly, I think we were in a game last week that presented ourselves just a little bit differently than most games, with so much man coverage. And this was a more traditional game for our offense, in the sense that there would be more balance. So some slight tweaks, but I had seen him throw the ball with great effectiveness and knew it was going to come.
He attempted 20 passes. I'm sure you don't put an exact number on it, but I'm also sure that you probably would prefer that it was closer to 20 for him than 40 like it was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I think the balance for us offensively will still be about managing third down situations. If we feel like we can keep ourselves out of long third down situations, then you limit, obviously your need to be throwing a lot of passes. So we're going to be, we're going to take our shots down the field, which we did. We had a big throw to EQ earlier in the game. Claypool makes a great catch on the sideline. So we'll still be able to push the ball down the field, but it should be more about through our play action and quick game.
Brian, first row, how important was that 14-point swing of Crawford stripping the ball at the 1 and then driving down and scoring immediately after that?
Well, I think that's the narrative, in terms of who we're becoming. Each team takes on a different, kind of look each year, and this team, and the way it's coached and the way Mike Elko was brought here, because we knew that that's the kind of defense that he has coached in his tenure as defensive coordinator. He coaches it every day. He talks about it, but more importantly, it's taught every single day. So those aren't coincidences. And if we could be a very efficient offense in terms of running the football and be efficient in the red zone, those equal differential points that put you in the win column, and that's all we're looking to do here, is win games.
Using 3 running backs as much as you did and as effectively as you did, was that the plan going into this game?
No, I don't think there was a set plan. Josh is our bell cow, if you will, and we're gonna continue to utilize his physicality at the position. We think Dexter is a great complementary back in terms of what he can do. And you saw what with Dion is capable. He runs hard. He's a tough kid with a burst. So, Tony wasn't able to go, but we'll get him back most likely next week, and we think we're very fortunate that we've got some depth at that position.
What did you see from Claypool tonight?
Broke some tackles, the things that we were expecting to see, and I think I've been asked this a couple of times, especially from our local people, in that it was just going to take some time, and that we were going to develop. They weren't there yet, but as they continued to progress and continue to grow, we were going to find the right spots for them, and they were going to contribute to what we're doing. And we saw a lot of guys contribute. Miles Boykin, C.J. Sanders was out there doing a nice job for us. Cam was outstanding blocking for us, made a number of key blocks for us in the slot position. And I don't want to pigeonhole him as a blocker because he's not. EQ makes a big catch. We're rolling a lot of guys in there.
Coach, over here, you talked last week, kind of building on that. You talked last week about how a lot of the emphasis is on Brandon's struggles, but you said that you need to catch the ball better. How would you assess, overall, just your abilities, your team's ability to go out and make plays in the pass game?
Yeah, we had one drop, on the sideline. EQ got distracted a little bit, but I thought we caught the ball much better, more consistent. Durham Smythe makes a great catch down the middle of the field, which, usually gets, that's a tough catch for a tight end to make. Back shoulder goes up and does a great job of, really picking up a big first down for us. So I think, all of our tight ends have been contributors to what we're doing, and Brandon did a really good job of getting them the football.
You guys have really been effective this year on offense of answering the team. You're forcing more turnovers, obviously, but so far you've, I think, 8 or 9 of your turnovers have resulted in touchdowns. Yeah. Is that just kind of doing your job, or is there an emphasis on making that a part of just being able to respond that way?
Well, again, we went to work to kind of retool who we are and how we wanted to go about winning football games. Mike Elko was part of that. What we wanted to be offensively was part of that. Having a high red zone efficiency, running the football in. I don't know what we have, but we probably have over a dozen rushing touchdowns. I don't think we've given up but one. So that differential is huge as well. So, this is what we wanted to start to look like, as the season starts to move into the 1/3 of the season through.
You'd mentioned during the week how athletic Michigan State's linebackers are. Yeah. They were bringing a lot of pressures up the middle, hard off the edge. You guys were able to get the ball quickly outside. How important was that? You also had a free release against a blitz on Dexter's touchdown. How important was it to have those plans to be able to beat Michigan State's pressures?
It's what you have to do, or you're going to be in for a long day against that defense. And just a couple of words about Michigan State. They resemble the Michigan States that I remember from a few years back. Very disciplined, hard-nosed, physical. They're young, obviously, but they've got some of those throwbacks back on that team. The guys that I remember, the Bullas and the Hallecks, and they're just a tough group of guys. You can see where they're going to be in a year or so. They resemble the kind of teams that Mark puts together.
Brian, right in front. When Julian runs that pick back, you guys are up 14 just 5 minutes into the game, and with the exception of a really small window, you're up at least 14 pretty much the whole game. And when you factor in that you're on the road against an opponent you respect, and you're able to largely dominate the game almost start to finish, what can that do for this team's confidence as they go forward?
They were a pretty confident group coming in. I think there's always new stages that you have to break through. One of them was coming out in the second half and not letting up, right? We haven't had that before, right? So that was new territory for this group. We were in a dogfight the week before with Boston College. It was a matter of coming out in the second half and turning it up and putting them away. This week was a new challenge. I told them at halftime, this is another area where we're going to have to grow, and that is coming out in the second half and not letting our opponent. They're going to give you their best shot coming out here in the third quarter. They're going to throw everything that they have at you. You're going to have to withstand it and come back at them. They drove down, got the field goal, and we came back and answered.
So when you put that together, what you did this week, what you did last week, the way defensively you played against Georgia, how do those things build on themselves, as the team progresses?
Yeah, they're all components to what we're trying to achieve here, and that is to build this team in all of those areas that I've talked in ad nauseum. I know you guys don't like hearing them, but all the traits that are necessary to have a championship football team. But we're not moving off of what is important to continue to put this team in a position to, look, 52 out of the 62 players that traveled with us are going to be back next year. So this is for the long haul. We're trying to build this to have success for not just for tonight, but for sustainable success.